Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Coaster, welcome back to Summer Heights. Happy New Year if you've just joined us for this video and you don't watch the Parkitect content, as this is the second video going up of the year so far. And a lot of this build was made just before Christmas in fact, but I never really had time to finish it. Likewise with the Parkitect content this week, I'm hoping that there will be 2 videos up this week, or if not one this week and one at the very start of next week, because I have started work on the next episode to this series as well after this. Good news is I'm pretty motivated to play the game at the moment, and Planet Zoo ain't working for me anyway, so it gives me a chance to get some really good stuff built in Planet Coaster, which is my favourite of the 2 games anyway, so yeah, it's not a great loss, I'm over it. Maybe next time there's a Planet Zoo DLC I'll be able to play it, but who knows. What we're working on in this one then is a queue line for the ride which we're now calling Shark Attack, and just a harbour, a facade really for the harbour. In fact, we get a few little other details built as well, so I build a sort of shipping port with a load of shipping containers and that type of thing, which fits into the theme quite nicely. I shift stuff around a fair bit as well, and we start working on the dark ride section of the coaster, you know, the pre-show before it goes into the launch. But yeah, at this point we're just building some details inside the queue line. It all gets moved around anyway because I didn't like the layout of the queue line and this building, so it gets shrunken down a bit by the end of the video. But we do quite a bit of the detailing inside the building, just so the guests have got something to look at while they queue up for this coaster, because it does get very long queues, as it's the only real ride in the park now other than the carousel at the moment. I'm thinking that I'm going to need some sort of other attraction in this area, probably just a flat ride, but I'm really not sure what to go for. It would make sense, as it's a harbour area, to have a water ride, but I think that'll go, that if we build a water ride, which we probably will, it'll go into the next area of the park, rather than this area, because there really just isn't room for it, to be honest here. But that's for the future anyway, nothing to worry about now. As you can see, this is quite a big building, so like I say, I shrink it down a bit because I didn't want it to outshadow the coaster station. And I did want buildings all along here, but to be honest I shot myself in the foot because I made the queue line go up quite high, so it didn't really give much room for you know, for a smaller building, because it had to sort of cover up the queue line and stuff as well as it goes over parts of the coaster layout. It was all quite a jumble to get everything in. And to be honest, with the actual queue line itself, there's still some parts that I'm not entirely happy with, which I will look at going back and changing in the future. But for now, most of it's in. And yeah, it's just following that same harbour theme, really, like the Fisherman's Wharf style theme, with the wooden panels and the sort of trims to break up the 2 different types of wood, which I think is quite a good and effective look. The good thing about this building these sort of things, you don't have to use too many pieces. Well, they probably do just with the structures themselves, but they're not the sort of buildings that in real life are heavily detailed anyway. You know, it's not like building a grand Victorian building or something like that, like the more detailed buildings that are near the entrance of the park, because you just don't see that in these sort of buildings. They're very simple, sort of wooden, you know, with some trims and a few windows, and that's it really. So yeah, quite simple to build. I just find what's time consuming about Planet Coaster is probably the most time consuming thing I find about this game is building stuff around queue lines, because obviously paths work in an awkward way. When I do queue lines inside buildings, I try and snap them to the grid and everything, but sometimes you just have to place walls off grid and stuff and make them into separate groups, and it just fiddling about with it all just seems to take a lot of time. And then you can get the end result here where you're not even completely happy with it. Like you can see I'm putting the roof in here, and like I said, I just decided it's too tall, so it has to come down a little bit. And whatnot for the coaster. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to go back and make my own custom supports for it. That might be something that I do. I might also redo some of the layout and try the 4 meter trick. Again, I'm not sure though if I want to mess about with it too much. It depends. Once all the theming's in, I'll see if that can be done without messing anything else around too much. Because there's parts of the coaster, like you can see here, that go through the actual building itself, where I don't want to mess about with the layout at all. And again, that's quite time consuming, so I don't know if it's something I'll get round to or not. Because it's not the smoothest coaster, but it's not too bad, you know. It's rideable. For this indoor section then, I'm just adding a load of chipped off wood so it looks like the coaster has smashed through the building itself, and then we add some fog effects. All very cliched, but it all works quite well for this idea. It's sort of like you've queued up inside the harbour building, and you've seen all the sort of fishermen's props and stuff, and then you've got on this coaster and it's just smashed out through the building into the harbour itself, and then at the end, the grand finale, the shark will come and jump out at you. So yeah, we went for the name Shark Attack in the end rather than Shark. I don't know if I've mentioned that already. So I might actually change the title of the previous video just so it makes a bit more sense for anyone watching through the series that's not seen it before. But yeah, I feel like the name Shark Attack works a fair bit better for the build, to be honest, for the coaster, for the name. I'm not very good at naming coasters, really. It's quite a cliched name as well. But this theme, the way I'm doing this theme, I don't think I've seen it done that many times before in Planet Coaster. At least I can't think of an instance where I've seen this theme built. I'm sure it has been done, because everything's been done in this game. You know, it's very difficult to make something completely original. Even if you base it off your own ideas rather than an actual, you know, real life theme park. Like this, it's just all completely, you know, my own ideas. Although I say that is slightly inspired by the small Fisherman's Wharf area that's in Universal Studios Orlando, and I think Disney's Disney's California Adventure, I'm sure, has a little area quite near the entrance that's a bit like this. Not a whole themed area, but just a sort of selection of buildings that are kind of Fisherman's Wharfy style. I might be wrong. Long time since I've been there, but that could be the case. But in general, you know, I'm just trying to go for my own idea here. I'm not looking at too many reference images or anything like that, because I don't think you need to really for this sort of themed buildings. I think in a way I might have been a bit inspired by the fact that aquatic pack come out for Planet Zoo that I can't play, that I'm not at all hung up about, because the main building pieces in that aquatic pack are these sort of painted wood pieces that you'd see in a harbour or a dock or whatever. And I think they're really nice pieces to use, and you can easily replicate that sort of thing here in Planet Coaster. So that's definitely something that I probably had in mind whilst building this. And yeah, all in all, you can pretty much see the buildings come together now, and this is the part where I believe that I lower it down, so we end up with 2 levels. You're going to have to bear with me a bit because a lot of this build I did quite a long time ago, so trying to actually remember what I did in what order is a bit of a challenge. But yeah, I'm sure. I just kept looking at it from over near the park entrance. You can see it poking up behind all the other all the main street buildings, and that wasn't something that I wanted to be able to see, so that's another part of the reason that I wanted it made smaller. Oh, sorry about that. When I talk for too long, I end up with a really dry throat, and I need a drink to carry on, basically. And I've always said this before, I've not got the best voice for commentary, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you just turn the sound off and just watch me build, because my voice does drone on a bit. There's not really a lot I can do about that. I have fiddled about with it in the effects before, and just taken some of the low end off, so that it doesn't sound so bassy, I guess. But really, I mean, the microphone I've got doesn't help. I'm not really in a position to get to spend that sort of money on a new one at this moment in time. But hopefully in the future that'll be something that I can sort out, because it really would be useful to have a nice proper YouTuber's mic rather than this crappy one that I have now. But you know, it does the job. You can hear me, that's the main thing. Here then, I've started using TMTK items. I just basically went on there and searched for anything sort of Harbour themes that I could find, and I also found these nice, they're meant for steampunk theming I think, but nice sort of metal corrugated iron, whatever they are, pieces, and I thought these would be perfect to do some pipes and tubes. So my first idea was to have the queue line inside this circular pipe, and although this is still the case now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to remove this section from the queue line because I'm not happy with it. However, I am going to have this pipe as part of the coaster launch because I think that would look cool, or rather the whole coaster launch, because I think that will look a lot better than using it to go around a path. I'm going to try and change that path to not be so straight, make it go around a few corners on its way down, and hopefully that will improve the general look of the queue line in this area, because putting the whole building together in the end was a bit of a nightmare with all the different sections to it. And yeah, the thing about this area is it's not great for making different episodes, if you know what I mean. It's not like I'm working on one thing, finishing it, then going to the next thing. I'm having to do bits and bobs and jump between different parts of the build to get everything in place, which, yeah, it doesn't really work that well for making up episodes and names for episodes and stuff. So yeah, it's a bit here and there, but you know, the main thing is it's all getting built, it's all getting done how I want it. We've got some nice theming in here that I'm pretty happy with. Later in the episode, probably my favourite part of this episode, but it's right at the end, is the shipping containers area, sort of the shipping dock area, where you've got some containers hanging from the sky and just some really nice industrial looking theming, which I thought would look better separate away from this area, which is all more your woods and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of the time lapse and a nice cinematic shot at the end, and hopefully see you in the next video. Thank you for watching everyone then, bye bye.